Hello, and welcome to the Journal Star Sportswriters podcast. I'm your host, Adam Duvall, joined always by Stan Morris, small school football beat writer, Dave Reynolds, large school football beat writer. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to be back.
Week 9, guys.
Week 9 is here.
We're here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy to think that. Just a reminder, we're on Facebook Live. So if you have any comments, questions, concerns, complaints, I suppose we'll address them. Just leave it there. Before we look back at last week, I want to jump into the state ranks because they just came out about, an hour ago? Yeah. So Peoria High moved into number 10 in 6A. Dunlap also is state ranked this week at number 10 in 5A. IVC went from receiving votes to number 9 in 4A. Princeton moved up in 3A to 7. Eureka moved out. They are receiving votes, though. Fieldcrest remains number 1 in 2A. Knoxville remains number 6 in 2A. Anawan, Weathersfield, did they move up? They're still number 3 in 1A. Let me look at my notes from last week. Yeah, they're still number 3 in 1A. So those are the state ranks. And let's dive into small schools.
Yeah, all right.
Week 8, you saw a good one, Stan.
Saw a really good game. Yeah, it was one of those just great high school football games. Back and forth battle all night. Eureka going to Minot, going to Fieldcrest, and you got the number 1 team in the state going against number 10 ranked team. And yeah, Fieldcrest got some momentum early. They got a touchdown, got an onside kick. Eureka had a roughing the passer on penalty that they put on the kickoff that helped them get an onside kick, and so they got a touchdown, and Eureka has a 14-3 lead at half, but Fieldcrest had a 14-3, and Eureka comes back in the third quarter. They seem like they have all the momentum, and then Fieldcrest goes down and scores again. It was just really a fun game to watch. Those teams are closely matched, just all around. Unfortunately, Eureka had a few turnovers that were costly at critical times, and so that was kind of the difference there. Otherwise, it's a really close match between those two teams. So they played again. It could go Eureka's way. So
absolutely. Dave, how about you over on the large school side? Full slate of Middle Illini games.
Yeah, I didn't cover a game last week because I was at state golf, but there were some. Most of the games were not that close, but the one that kind of stands out is Dunlap 21-20 over Canton. As we all know, Dunlap undefeated in the league, and they haven't been blowing anybody out. They have won their 6 games in the league by an average of 8 points this year. And this one was the closest one of all. But it was an interesting game. I talked with Brett Caslett on Sunday, and he said that they had a 21-7 lead, the Eagles, in the fourth quarter with about 7 minutes left, and they fumbled on their own 30. And Canton, probably Callie Stein, was part of this, ran it in from there. So now it's 21-14, and Dunlap marches down. Their drive stalls. They kick a field goal. It gets blocked, and Canton runs it back to the 50 or midfield, thereabouts, and goes down and scores with 18 seconds left in the game. And after that, they went for 2 and didn't make it. So that was the game.
Where do you guys stand on that? Going for 2, game on the line?
I'd go for it. You want to win the game.
Yeah, especially if you got a horse back there that you really have a lot of confidence in, and go for it.
Okay. Dave, any other game last week that stood out to you?
Well, Peoria High had an impressive win at Bloomington. It's never easy going on the road, but 42-26, and that puts them in a position where they can tie for the conference title this week against Normal Community, which will be at the stadium on Friday night, so that should be a great game.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out the Rams and Manual. 34-0 against Urbana. I think that was one of our games we picked last week.
Right.
And I think all of us picked Manual.
Yeah, very happy for the Rams to get on the win side there. I've got a quote later from Ed Cagle you'll enjoy when we get to that segment of the program.
All right. That's a tease, ladies and gentlemen. A tease. Stan, how about you? Metro, the Mercer County 8, Princeville 7, that kind of stood out to me. What did you see?
Not a real surprise. Mercer County just being a traditional power, their team that, came in, at 4-3, so they didn't want to get that fourth loss to kind of force, trying to make it at 5-4. And they did the same thing 2 years ago. Princeville went into Mercer County because week 9 that year, they were Princeville was 7-1 coming into it. Mercer County needed a win to be able to get into the playoffs, and Mercer County was able to beat Princeville at home. And so, those traditional powers that have made it into playoffs 15, 20 years or whatever it is in a row, I think Mercer County's made it in like 12 years in a row into the playoffs. And, there's a team, and I think all the scoring was first quarter too, so defenses really came through in that game. So, a tough one for Princeville certainly, but they are in the playoffs and got another tough matchup again this weekend to see. But that was a really good game. And then Knoxville did what Knoxville with 52 points and shutting out Elmwood Brimfield. They continue to roll. Tremont getting a win over Peoria Heights, and that was kind of nice to see Caden Buster come back. Not only did he was taken off the field on a stretcher the week before against Eureka, he comes back and he runs for 233 yards and scores 4 touchdowns. So I'd say he's pretty healthy, I guess. So
absolutely,
that's good to see. Yeah.
IVC remained undefeated. They held off. Looked like a kind of a late third quarter rally from Bloomington Central Catholic.
Wild game there, 48-34.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, on to fantasy football. Dave Reynolds, of course, is our leader. But I won this week, guys, believe it or not.
Congratulations, Adam.
Thank you. I had Josh McMillan from Farmington. He had 113 passing yards with a touchdown, 105 rushing yards with a touchdown. He gave me 25.15 points. Seth Glatz, that hot stock, 54.3 points.
Wow.
226 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, 17 receiving yards, and 1 touchdown. And unfortunately, my wide receiver, Corbin Rutledge of Farmington, gave me 0 points. So, Stan, you were second with 75.9 points. Matt Lorden of Fieldcrest, he had 80 passing yards and a touchdown and 2 rushing yards. That gave you 7.2 points. You also had Seth Glatz, 54.3. You had Sebastian Hill of Pekin, who had 7 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, 17 receiving yards for 14.4 points. Excuse me. And Dave Reynolds, our leader, he came in with 53.3 points. Travis Lutz of Limestone, 376 passing yards with a touchdown and -10 rushing yards. That gave him 20.8 points. Chris Dillon, 148 rushing, 2 touchdowns, 26.8 points. And Ashton Everdeen of Morton, 34 receiving yards, 23 rushing yards for 5.7 points. So through 8 weeks, Dave Reynolds is in the lead, 493.6 points. I'm in second with 427.43. And Stan Morris, 381.99 points.
Still got a shot.
You do. We continue fantasy in the playoffs, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's still hope.
Chris Shannon on Facebook says, huge game for the Little Giants this week. We will get to previewing Week 9 in the Mid-Illini in about 2 segments. Mm-hmm. First, we're going to do fantasy football. We'll do our one thing, and then we'll look ahead to Week 9. So, Dave, since you remain our leader, who is your quarterback for this week?
Well, I struggled with this one because I don't know how many yards he's going to pile up against the Knoxville defense, but I'm going to go with Josh McMillan.
Okay. Stan, how about you?
I'm going Brady Klein, Washington.
Brady Klein. Good pick. He was part of 376 rushing yards against Metamora in their 38-0 win. Largest margin of victory since 1956.
Good research.
Thank you. And I'm going to go Riley Richards from Morton as my quarterback. I'll have a note about him in one thing. Dave, back to you. You're running back.
Caden Buster, Tremont.
Caden Buster. Riding that momentum. All right.
Going to Hayworth. And
Yeah, I think he's up for it.
Sure.
Stan, how about you? Who's your running back?
I'm going Kenton Castrojohn for Fieldcrest.
Kenton Castrojohn.
He's been their workhorse back, and
I'm saving him for the playoffs.
Yeah, we get to reboot in the playoffs.
Reboot in the playoffs. Dave. Yeah.
You can't tell me these rules ahead of time.
Yeah. I'm going Mitchell Gore from Dunlap as my running back. Wide receiver, Dave. Who do you have?
I have Nate Thornton from Limestone. Caught 14 passes last week. So
Wow.
Talk about a hot stock.
Yeah.
There we go. Stan, how about you?
I'm going with Marcus Gully, Peoria Heights. I don't think I went with Jared Crew one week, but his counterpart. But I'm going with Marcus Gully this time.
All right. Dalton Powell, is he playing this week, Stan? Because I tried to pick him earlier.
As far as I know.
All right. I'm going Dalton Powell from Farmington. He told me that one week, which I appreciate. Yeah. We won't have any Dave Reynolds, Cam Woolard situations, but whatever. That's beside the point. All right. So that's fantasy football for Week 8. Let's go to one thing from Week 8. Stan, let's start with you.
Okay. I'm going to go with the going back to Fieldcrest, and they honored veterans. It was the Veterans Bowl. They have a trophy for Eureka and Fieldcrest each year. They have a traveling trophy that goes out called the Veterans Bowl, and they honored veterans before the game. And one of those guys was one of the Fieldcrest players. So he was Garrett Nix, as a senior. He's serving in the Army National Guard currently, and going to go into the Army. So it's kind of cool to see him among all of those veterans that were led onto the field, introduced as to what branch of the service that they were in. It's a really cool night. Had a guy parachuting in, carrying a American flag, and great honor and tribute to our guys who had served in the past, and one who is going to be serving. So that's neat to see.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Dave, one thing, note, quote, stat.
Okay, here comes the Ed Cagle quote.
All right, here we go.
To lose your first 7 games, not quit, and keep fighting, it makes me feel really good as a coach that we're going in the right direction. I was really happy to see them be happy. So
Great.
Happy to see him be happy.
Yep. So
Awesome.
Big win for the Rams.
Great. So I had a number. It was 0, and that's incompletions for Morton quarterback Riley Richards in the 62-28 win over Limestone. He went 10 for 10 with 197 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. So kudos to you,
Very
Riley.
Nice. Yeah.
All right, let's look ahead to Week 9. Dave, you mentioned it. Normal Community at Peoria High, 7 p.m. Friday. So just so everyone is clear, this is a 7 p.m. Friday game. I know some schedules had it as a doubleheader with Normal Community and Peoria High playing at 4:30, and then Champaign Central and Manual playing at 7, but that's not the case. Champaign Central and Manual is moved to 1 p.m. Saturday, correct, Dave?
Yes.
Okay. So back to looking ahead to Week 9. Normal Community and Peoria High.
Well, as I mentioned, this one is a possible conference tie for the Lions with Normal Community. Normal West is also in the mix. That could end up being a 3-way tie. Normal West is playing Centennial, so they'll likely win that one. So we could end up with a 3-way tie if Peoria High wins this one. But I think they could do it. I mean, they've been very consistent all season. They've been relatively healthy, and it's at the stadium, which is kind of advantageous to them with that. We talked about the crown there being kind of a home field advantage. So, yeah, I think it'll be a good game for the Lions.
Dave, I'm going to move over to the Middle Illini. Also in the Big 12, we have Richwoods at Muhammad Seymour and Notre Dame at Danville. But we have at least 3 games in the Middle Illini that provide for some intrigue. Let's shout out to Chris, who was a huge game for the Little Giants. Let's talk about that Metamora Canton game. That's a big game for especially the Little Giants.
Canton has won 4 games, and a victory would put them in on that bubble if they were to win on Friday. Metamora's at home, and we know they have had an off season, but they have won 25 of the last 27 meetings in this rivalry. So that said, I think the way Canton's been playing, I know they got beat last week against Dunlap, but obviously took them to the wire. I think Canton can pull this one out against the Redbirds. The Redbirds have struggled this season and have had lots of injury woes, but this is a huge game for the Little Giants.
Dave, I just wanted to make sure I verified Canton is hosting this game, correct?
This is at Canton.
Okay.
My bad.
No, I just wanted to verify that. Morton at Dunlap. That provides for some 2 teams that play on turf at home. Dunlap with a win, they win the league outright. What do you expect to see in this one, Dave?
Well, I think it'll be close. Dunlap's dominated of late, 5 of the last 6 in the series. But as I mentioned, they don't blow people out, but they find a way to win pretty much every Friday night. So Morton has been playing very well. Their offense is in high gear. You mentioned Riley Richards and his 10 for 10 game the other night. They ran up 62 points against Limestone. They're both in the playoffs. They both have clinched already. Morton's won 6 and Dunlap's won 7. So it's a tough one. I think that Morton can get him, but this will not be easy for either team. It's going to be close.
Looking forward to both of those games. Stan, I think the game that stands out the most to me is Farmington and Knoxville.
Oh, definitely. There's some good games in the small schools, but that one surely definitely kind of is out there as a really kind of a playoff game in Week 9, so to speak. They'll probably be in different classes when it comes to playoff time, but you've got Farmington, the Prairieland Blue champ, against Knoxville, the Prairieland Black, and if Farmington be able to get something off of that, that's such a great defense that Knoxville has, or that spread offense that Farmington runs, where they've got a lot of weapons out there. They've got the ability of scoring over 30 points a game. So it's one of those something's got to give type of games, and Knoxville's been certainly scoring like crazy as well. I mean, they've been scoring 40 points a game. So we'll see what happens on the field there. That's at Knoxville, so that certainly is a plus for the Blue Bullets there for that game. But big game and Prairieland crossover.
Stan, is there any other small school games that stand out? Any teams that are right there on that bubble looking to become playoff eligible?
Well, in our metros, we don't really have pretty much all those on the bubble. Or Tremont is actually in as being kind of the representative of the HY small side. So if they're sitting at 5-3, but they've got that already. They're facing Hayworth to get that 6th win. So on the area wise, we got a couple teams like in Lewistown is 4-4. They're playing at Bushnell Prairie City, West Prairie. They've got to get a win. I mean, if they get a win, they're in pretty good shape. They've got 33 points, playoff points right now. So getting a win at 5-4. I think Lewiston's going to make the playoffs for a second year in a row. Havana's sitting at 4-4, and they play a West Hancock team that is 2-6, so they will likely get a win, but their playoff points really aren't very good. So they're going to be kind of hoping to see what happens with the playoff, where that line is going to be in the points system there. But for other good games to see, I mean, IVC goes for an unbeaten regular season. That'd be the first time in 10 years that the Nines, 2009 they were unbeaten. 2019 they're shooting for that. They go to Olympia, and with Princeville they have a Ridgewood team that is 6-2 as well. So that'll be a tough test for Princeville to get that. They certainly want to get that 7th win to get a better playoff seed going in. It's tough going 6-3. Then you might be facing a 9-0 potentially in the first round of the playoffs. You never know. So you want to get that 7th win. So,
all right, gentlemen, let's move on to Week 9 picks. Normal community at Peoria High. Dave, go.
Peoria High 36-28.
Stan.
Peoria High. I'm going Peoria High 35-21.
I went Peoria High 35-33. Dave, Farmington at Knoxville. Who do you have?
I got Knoxville 33-22.
33-22. Stan?
I think the Blue Bullets. I'm going to go with the Blue Bullets as well. I'm going to say 28-21.
Of course, they've
only given up 30-some points all year, yeah. So I'd be surprised if Farmington gets that many. But you know what? And Farmington's got some good defense too. That may be like the Fieldcrest Eureka game that ended up being 21-17. So who knows?
My wife, Erin, shout out. She went to Knoxville. Knoxville 21, Farmington 20. All right, Morton at Dunlap. Who do we have? Dave?
I got Morton 35-31.
Wow. 35-31. All right, Stan, how about you?
I'm going Morton too. I have a feeling Morton can win that game. 28-27 we'll go.
Stan.
Yeah.
Just the opposite. I have Dunlap 28-27.
All right.
Okay.
So that's what they've been doing, winning those close games.
Exactly. So Week 8, all of us went 3-0. Overall, Dave and Stan are still tied at 20-4. I'm at 18-6. Before we close, we got 45 seconds on the clock for each of you. I assume this will be about the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
All right, Stan, your time starts now.
I'm just throwing in, the teams that are already in on the small school side. Anawan Wethersfield we got 4 unbeatens. Anawan Wethersfield's 8-0. They're number 2 seeded in 1A right now. Fieldcrest is 8-0, the number 2 seed in 2A. IVC's 8-0. They're the number 3 seed in 4A. Knoxville 8-0. They're the number 1 seed in 2A right now. So you got Farmington at 7-1. They're a number 6 seed. So you got some high seeds there. If they can kind of get those wins, keep on rolling, they've got a really good shot at getting a high seed going into the playoffs.
That's your time. Dave?
Well, of the dozen Metro large school teams, half of them still figure into the playoffs at this point. 4 of them have clinched. Peoria High and Dunlap are both 7-1. Notre Dame and Morton are both 6-2. Notably, Dunlap right now is listed as the largest school in 5A. Notre Dame is listed as going in 5A as well, but they would be the smallest school by enrollment. Or if they were to slip down to 4A, they would be the largest in that class. So that'll be something to watch as Saturday's brackets unfold. Morton would be 5A probably in any case. Pekin has won 5 and is playoff eligible. they would be in 7A, and they're at Limestone, so they're hoping that they can pull that one off against the Rockets. And then, as we mentioned, Canton, which would be in 4A if they were able to make it. They're sitting at 4-4 right now and hoping for a 5th win against Metamora.
All right, Dave. Mm-hmm. That was a little longer than 45 seconds, but that's okay.
I used less time last week. So.
All right. Okay.
You had some bank.
Gentlemen, what sort of preview stuff that we have coming up for this weekend? Stan?
I'll be more focusing on the playoffs. I'll be looking at, or kind of our playoff primer that we do each and every year. We'll look at the teams that are in, teams that are on the bubble, those that can clinch with a win, and those type of things. So we'll have that in Friday's paper.
Okay, Dave, how about you?
I'm going to go a little different route. I'm going to talk to the coaches of the teams that did not make the playoffs, and talk about their seasons. We talked about Manual earlier, Limestone. There's some teams that have made some big strides this year that are not going to be in the playoffs, and we're going to have plenty on those playoff teams down the road. So I just thought it'd be nice to kind of address the teams that did not make it this year.
That's why he's a pro, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll have playoff primer, playoff dreams. We'll have coverage. You guys know where you're going yet?
I think I'll be at the stadium for Peoria High.
More than likely I'll be in Knoxville, but we'll see.
All right. So be sure to follow us, all of our coverage online, pjstar.com/sports, our Twitter account @pjstarsports. Join the conversation, #PGSPreps. Look for all of the area teams who made the playoffs. That'll be in Sunday's paper. For Stan Morris, Dave Reynolds, our producer Matt Dayhoff, I'm Adam Duvall. Bye for now.